Hell, everybody, I am Drew Duncan. Don't forget, you can also follow me on social media. That is at Drew Duncan Radio across the board on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can find me on Patreon. Simply look for Drew Duncan Radio. And YouTube is simply Drew Duncan. And do not forget that I am wherever you listen to podcasts. Simply tell your device to play Drew Duncan on Spotify, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, etc. Guys, I am super thrilled to have our next guest back on the program. He is no stranger to the program. Matter of fact, we have done several interviews together. This guy has lived a life, let me tell you what, and he knows a lot about a lot of different sports, not just MMA. His name is Josh Bush, and he's hanging out with us once again. Josh, thank you so much for joining me yet again.
Hey, I appreciate you having me on. It's a pleasure every time.
Josh, you and I were talking a little bit about it before we went on live here. Patrick Mahomes, it was a bit of a conundrum as to what needed to be done with him. Sit him, keep him out a little bit longer, dislocated knee. It was called a best case scenario. From a standpoint of a guy who's played defensive end in football, what is your assessment of that situation?
I mean, a dislocated knee is pretty serious. But Patrick Mahomes is a freak athlete. He's been injured in college and then running out there, kind of in a boot, hobbling around and still making big plays. Kid wants to play. I think I probably would have set him another week. He's your star quarterback, best quarterback in the NFL right now. And I think it was kind of risky. Personally, I probably would have set him another week. And, really, really take things careful with him. I predict Patrick Mahomes is going to break all the records. I predict he's going to take the Chiefs to a Super Bowl, multiple Super Bowls, with the team and the coaching and the players that he surrounds himself with. The way he's humble, he's a great person overall, on and off the field. And to kind of push that injury and have him come back so soon, I think was more of a risk.
Risk versus reward. My scenario to all this was, or my aspect, I guess you could say, on it was maybe they lose this season, but if they lose this season, it's 14 years maybe of potential greatness versus trying to hurry up and win now. Would you agree with that?
Oh, yeah. You see the prize, you see it's nice and shiny, and here it is, and it's so close. And you're kind of rushing towards it. He's already injured. And then you throw him back in there. He gets hit in that same knee, and now he's done, and now he's having surgery, and now he's out next season too. Slow and steady wins the race, and everything you do, if I wanted to, I could probably rush and hurry up and go pro, and then I probably wouldn't do so well in the pros just yet. I got a couple things that I'm working on at the gym. I predict the end of next year I go pro. But, you got to be careful about it. Sports, anything can happen. And you don't want to lose the best quarterback in the NFL because you rushed it.
I love that take, Josh. Speaking of best quarterback in the NFL, there are a lot of people that believe currently right now Tom Brady is the best to ever do it. But to me, this New England Patriots football team is a bit of a conundrum this year. Their record reflects another successful season. But again, before we went on, you were giving me sort of the opposite. Why is that?
They ain't played nobody. You got all these JV teams, all these teams who can't get a win. And the Patriots are going out there and, smacking them in the mouth. Yeah, granted, you got a good record. But who have you played? Who have you went up against to really test yourself? You play a team like Kansas City, it ain't going to go well. You play a real team, and they lost. And it's sad because they are the dynasty team. They are the team that everybody models and wants to be like. And then you win the Super Bowl and you come back with a JV schedule. You play all of the worst teams in the NFL. You have the easiest schedule ever. It's kind of sad as a football fan to watch my team, kind of beat up on the little kids and come out there with that arrogant swagger. I don't know. I like teams who go in and battle. I like defensive games, where it's real tight, nobody can score. If you're out there just blowing everybody out of the water, that's not what I like to watch football for.
Talking to Josh Bush. My name is Drew Duncan. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram is all at Drew Duncan Radio. But the star of the show right now is Josh Bush. He's got a fight coming up December the 27th for Shamrock FC in Kansas City. Josh, to me, this is a huge step up for you. Tremendous opportunity, even though it still is at the amateur level. Shamrock FC is well known for putting fighters in good positions. What is your overall mindset heading into this?
Well, the fight is December 7th, not December 27th, but my mindset is train. You know, my dad told me, train insane or stay the same. So I'm training with Caveman Crew MMA under Rudy Bears, and it's crazy being in an MMA gym, rolling, doing gi, boxing, sparring. I mean, they open the gym up 2-3 times a day, and I'm going to go in there and I'm going to work on what I've been training. You know, there's a lot of new moves, a lot of new techniques that I've been taught, and I can go 3, 4, 5-minute rounds. Do it over and over and over again. I mean, the way we train, I've never been in this kind of shape. And I don't know, man. It's crazy. I'm excited for it. I'm excited to get out there on that big stage with Shamrock and showcase what I've learned, you know.
It's going to be at Ameristar Casino. Josh, winning this fight, what do you think it'll do for you in your career next? Do you think it's that next step, taking it to the pro level, or do you think it's just a really good stepping stone for you?
I think it's a really good stepping stone. Getting on Shamrock FC is kind of a big deal. You know, I would rank Shamrock up there with EFC with David Rickles. I think this is a huge opportunity for me. And with this, my plan and my goal, and I've talked with Rudy about this, I want to try to take a fight every single month. I want to go pro. I'm anxious to go pro, but I don't want to rush into it. My boxing needs a little bit more work. I can get clustered sometimes and kind of try to circle out and try to look for a new opening or try to take a shot when really I need to just sit in the pocket, feel comfortable, block those shots and fire back. My gi, I want to work gi a little bit more. I want to get my belt level up. You know, right now I'm just a white belt. I've never done gi before. I'm just starting out. My wrestling's kind of helping with that a little bit, though, to where I have a little understanding of where I need to set my hips. But I have a couple of things I need to touch up on before I take it to that pro level, and I think Caveman Crew is the gym that I need to be at to do that.
I love how honest you are about where you are right now in terms of your fighting capabilities. And one of the things that I've noticed and I've talked about a couple of times is you see these amateur fighters 0-3, 1-5, and it's like, well, I guess I'll turn pro now. Why are you so hell-bent on making sure that other facets of your fighting game is on point?
Man, because you're going in there and getting beat up. You know, you're getting punched in the mouth. And I'm not one of these guys who thinks that, you know, when I first started fighting, I was one of those guys who thought I'm the biggest, baddest mother effer in the world. Nobody can touch me. And I went in there and I fought some killers. I fought, you know, Darren Abbey, who from Iowa at the national championships with UMass. And he put paws on me, man. I mean, it humbles you. You get in here and, you know, I don't want to be one of those cocky, arrogant fighters who just walks around like, oh, yeah, I'm an MMA fighter. Nobody can beat me up. Like, no, this sport has humbled me a lot, and I know what it takes to get to the top. And I want to be that guy sitting in the Shamrock FC's cage as a pro with a belt that I had just defended, getting handed a Bellator contract. I have a goal, and I see a road, and I know how I can get to it, but I have to put the work in. If you think you can just go pro just because of the record for it and a promotion's willing to sign you the deal, you're not going to get very far if you don't put the work in. So I'm trying to put the work in first before I take that step. I don't want to go pro now as a 4-4 amateur who's just starting to put the work in the way that I really need to, you know, with diet and training and being in a gym that focuses on the skill set that I need to get. and then going out there and maybe I win my first one. Your first pro fight is typically pretty easy. But then you fight all killers, all guys who have been there for years. And I don't want to be that guy who's 1-4 as a pro thinking about, oh, I should have did this, I should have done that. I really want to take the time and focus on the things that I know I need to focus on. And, maybe 3 months down the line, there's something else. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I need to work this too. Or 3 months down the line, Rudy comes to me and he was like, hey, you've improved so much. I think we look at a deal now. So it's just one of those things. I have a goal set for the end of next year. This time next year, I think I'll be ready. If it happens before then, and I listen to Rudy, he's my coach. He sees me improving in the gym. And, if at any point he comes to me and we have that conversation, then we'll look at it. But right now I'm not rushing into it. I know what I need to work on. I know what I need to sit back and do. And I'm just focused on getting better every day.
As you alluded to earlier, slow and steady wins the race. Josh, you know exactly about what I do with this portion of the show. It is your opportunity to say whatever it is that's on your mind. There's no right or wrong answer here. The floor is 100% yours.
Hey, I appreciate that, Drew. I want to, first of all, I want to thank God for giving me the opportunity and keeping me straight. I've had a lot of ups and downs in my life, a lot of struggles, but ultimately God has always surrounded me by good, generous people who really care about people and want to help. So I gotta give that to God. Secondly, I want to thank my mom and my dad, and huge shout out to my son, Jackson Randall. He brings my peace. I get so overwhelmed in the gym. And, with training constantly, just kind of being able to hold him and cuddle with him and take care of him, it kind of gives me that peace of mind and focus that I really need, that I haven't had for a long time. I also need to shout out to Emily Baker, my sponsor with Strength. She runs a company that helps people with drug addiction, children who don't have what they need. And they help provide the stuff that they need to get and make sure that they're well taken care of.
Everybody,
I'd like to give...
Nope, go for it, my man.
I'm sorry, Jehu. I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to give a big thank you to you for putting me on and kind of giving me this platform to kind of talk a little bit about my next fight coming up and what I've been going through and doing to get ready for it.
Man, anytime, Josh. It is literally an open invite for this program for you. No lie, bro.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
It's all gravity, baby. All right, everybody. He is Josh Bush. He's got a fight coming up December 7 at Ameristar Casino in Kansas City for Shamrock FC. I'm simply Drew Duncan. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram is all at Drew Duncan Radio. And as always, don't you dare touch that dial.